on another spooktacular, spooky spot. Come on in, guys. Come on in. Everybody sit down. Sit down. You as well. Come on, sit down. Sit down. Today we're going to be having a look at the Diamond Select Universal Studios, home of the original monsters. We're going to be looking today at the Bride of Frankenstein figure, who I also got to point out right off the bat, kind of looks like Emma Watson. Maybe, I don't know. Who knows? Down below there's a picture of the Bride of Frankenstein. This is a Toys R Us exclusive. Anyone asking where I picked this up from, it's not your business. I'm just only kidding. I picked it up from Big Bad Toy Store. I didn't actually pick this up from Toys R Us. On the back, some interesting things to note. First of all, in the top corner there, it says, beginning in 1923, Universal Pictures began a series of movies, later integrated under the Universal Monsters banner that changed films forever. These monsters created some of the most iconic characters in film history. To note, the figures available through the Universal Studios, home of the original monsters. We have the Bride of Frankenstein. We've got Dracula and Frankenstein. Interesting thing to note, if you've watched the review that I did of the deluxe Dracula, the standalone Dracula that only comes with the ground display base and the tombstone there, actually has a different face. He appears to have a different face. Seems to have the same body though, along with the Frankenstein, but even the Frankenstein looks a little bit different. Now, I haven't seen the single figures, the ones that don't have the more complex sets. I do like what looks to be the Frankenstein's display base instead of that horrible table that he came with. So perhaps I'm going to have to see if I can track those down. The read-up, however, on Bride of Frankenstein says, picking up where Frankenstein left off, the 1935 sequel showed the monster's desire to be accepted and his creator's attempt to provide him with a mate. But just because she was created through science like he was, doesn't mean that she'll be his willing bride. You can also go to Diamond Select Toys for more information. I'm trying to see if there's a website here. There isn't. There doesn't seem to be. Diamond Select Toys, though. What we're going to do is I'm going to get this opened up, and we're going to have ourselves a look at the Bride of Frankenstein. There is more terrifying review to come, my friends. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. Alright, so we've got the Bride out of package, and we got a bit of bad news. Got a bit of bad news that I'm going to throw out there for you guys now. Had a bit of a quality problem with my Bride. In fact, if I take her off this display stand, watch what happens. Yes. It would appear the Bride has a problem with her head, and the problem is the fact that her head is broken right off. If you guys zoom in, you know what, I'll zoom in. I'll bring you there, don't worry. Her head actually just had a little tiny peg. That's it. That's all it was. And I guess between the weight of the head and for how flimsy that peg is, the head was completely broken off when I took the figure out of package. It was actually already broken at the time I took the figure out of package. How's that for disappointing? Now I can kind of just wedge, as you can see, I can wedge the head in there for the time being, and it serves its purpose. I will eventually just glue it. I'm just going to glue it and call it a day. Let's move the Bride to the back. Hopefully she keeps her head on. First of all, looking at the display base that she comes with. She comes with the laboratory flooring and the pillars or poles, complete with chains here. They seem to be a real metallic chain as well, which is nice. I like that. Also, there is some bandages on the sides of the poles there. Looks really cool. It definitely looks really cool. It would look cooler, you know, if my Bride of Frankenstein didn't have a broken head, but oh well. Other quality issues to point out is this. Oh, there goes the head. There goes the head again. You know what? We'll leave the head off for now. Another issue I have is the arm. The arm seems to be also just on a peg. Now, I don't know. The more I'm looking at this, come look with me. The camera will allow me to. There we go. It definitely seems as if there is a peg that's supposed to be there. Right there, as you can see, it looks like there's glue or there's something that was supposed to be keeping this on better than what it was. Because inside, yeah, it just doesn't hold. So unfortunately, this poor arm has seen better days. It's better off than what the head was, let me tell you. But unfortunately, it's come off as well. This arm seems all right so far. But yeah, there goes the there goes the other arm as well. Wow, boy oh boy. Anyways, definitely not a good way to start this review, or a good way really to have a figure. The fact that you have a figure to worry about. But I can tell you the sculpt on the arms are nice. Given the fact that at least the arms aren't broken, unlike the head, the arms do look nice. You can see the bandaged hands there, the bandaged fingers going up there. She's also got that robe that she wears. You can see the stitching up at the side, up at the back there. Below as well, there is actually the entire body is bandaged, which I really, really like. And I don't know, I'm going to take the arms off here for a second. I don't know if they've done it in such a way. They probably haven't. It's just my way of thinking. They've probably done it in such a way that you could take the entire body off. Now, why you would want to do that, who knows? But I'm just showing you guys anyways that you could take the arms off. Maybe that's the reasoning why the arms are so easy to take off, because you can have her just as the bandaged body. Bandaged body with the head. Now, the only way that you would have gotten this off, the robe, if it was intended to come off, was the fact that this head would have had been removable as well. If that was the case, I would say that's very bad manufacturing. That is a serious issue with quality control, because how would you possibly be able to get the head off with such a flimsy peg without guaranteeing that you're going to break it off, as what you saw happen right here? Maybe it's worked itself out that maybe it was not intended to come off, but you know, with the head coming off as it is, I was able to at least show you guys that she does have a fully bandaged body. Take that off and that off. Other things also I want to point out as I'm taking apart, dismantling the bride here, is that she also has a waist swivel. Something very interesting too, because if she was never intended to have this come off, the fact that she would have actually had waist swivel is very interesting indeed. She also seems to have a slight bit, or perhaps it's just the way the leg was installed. It looks like she's supposed to have a little bit of a swivel in the leg, but this whole entire review, basically this figure has come apart on me. Let's put the robe back on here. Keep this woman somewhat dressed. Put the arms back on. Diamond Select, you know, it's great that they did that they made it so you could remove the robe, but I really got to wonder where their logic was with the head. If the head was intended to come off, they've made it in such a way that that peg, guaranteed at some point you're going to take it off, that peg is going to break right off, as you can see there. The head is nice. I don't know if I would say they have the likeness for the bride. Perhaps again it was a licensing issue where they just couldn't get the likeness to sculpt the face like that. It does look a little bit like Emma Watson. The hair is still there as well. I like the hair. And it would have been nice if they had actually released a variant. I have to keep holding her poor head. No, it's not going to hold on there. I'm definitely going to have to glue it. See if I can. I was hoping I could just wedge it on there enough just to get the review, just enough to get the review shot. But it would have been nice if they had been able to shoot or to sculpt a face, the screaming face of the bride. I think that would have been more iconic as well. Now that being said, her articulation would have been that she would have had a moving head back and forth. I don't know how much movement you would have got, being that the hair is as low as it is. It probably would have butted up against the side of her shoulders. Her arms can move around, all the way around. Also can come out, as I've shown you already. The hands can rotate. As I mentioned, there was waist swivel, which only lends itself again to the fact that this could come off. But with the robe on, you're really not going to get much more than just hand and arm movement and the head. It's a great figure. I mean, I like the figure. The likeness, very similar to Frankenstein. So much so I'll bring him in here. Similar with the Frankenstein, it's almost as if they either couldn't get the likeness or the sculpt just was weak. However, they do make a nice couple. Her head is really a little too large, I think is another thing I'm starting to see. But she is a pretty good figure, all things considered. And I mean, certainly if you're going to have Frankenstein, why not have the bride along with him? I really am disappointed though with the quality level on the pegs. The arms, I can justify the arms. I can at least move the arms up, and if the arms happen to fall out, I can just push them back in. But the quality on the head is really disappointing. It's a shame that they use what looks to be such a flimsy peg, especially if it looks that this robe is supposed to come off. How are you possibly going to be able to get this head off without at some point this breaking? Likeness could have been a little bit better. Quality control certainly is an issue. If I can maybe just rate the figure without the little strikes here and there on quality, sculpt and everything else, I'm going to give the figure a 6. Quality control, on the other hand, I'm going to give this figure a 2. A good figure, but you know, let the buyer beware. Do be careful when you get this figure that you don't have the exact same problems as I do. It's really a shame too, because I really wanted a Bride of Frankenstein. But I'm ultimately going to have a bride with a glued on head. Oh, it's such a shame. Today's spooky spot, we were having a look at the Diamond Select Bride of Frankenstein figure. Not all that great, but again, if this is the only way you can get a Bride of Frankenstein figure, especially to go with Frank here, this is the way you're going to have to go. Just be careful on the head. Thanks for watching, guys. As you always do, stay tuned for more spooky spots to come. And I will see you guys next time. No, I'm going to have to glue it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.